Next characteristic we want to look at on our graphs are asymptotes. And asymptotes are imaginary lines or boundaries. And they're going to either be horizontal or they're going to be vertical. And for our purposes, I really just want you to be able to pick it off a graph. So here's the function of graph 2x squared over 4 minus x squared. And the first thing we're going to look at is just the horizontal asymptote. So horizontal. Remember horizontal, like the horizon, horizontal. So in fact, I look at this graph and notice that we're counting on the y-axis, we're counting by twos. So that point right there on the y-axis is y, the output is -2. So if you can think about it, I can draw an imaginary line at y equals -2, and that's going to act as an asymptote. Okay, as I look at these two portions of the graph, okay, from the right hand side, as x gets larger and larger and larger, y gets larger and larger and larger, and then it starts to taper up, and then it turns, and the output never reaches -2, but it gets infinitely close. Same thing over here. You know, as I kind of think backwards, I'm going x in the, you know, making smaller and smaller x's, or more and more negative, more and more negative large x's. The output gets closer and closer to y equals -2 again. So I'm going to say in this instance, my horizontal asymptote is y equals -2. Now let's look at the vertical asymptotes. Vertical. And you can pick them off the graph over here at x equals -2 and x equals 2, which should not come as a surprise. We could have figured this out algebraically because vertical asymptotes tend to happen when we look at numbers that we can't put in the denominator, or numbers that aren't in our domain. Remember that 4 minus x squared is the same as 2 minus x times 2 plus x. And they can't be 0, which means 2 minus x can't be 0, which means x can't be 2. X plus 2 can't be 0, which means x can't be -2. So you can kind of figure this out algebraically, but as long as you can pick them off the graph, I'm good. And you can kind of see, once again, analyzing the graph, as my x values get larger and larger and get close to -2, they never really get there. All right, so you get infinitely close to -2, but and the y values keep getting larger and larger negative, but they never really get to the value where I put in -2 for x. And the same thing here, if I look kind of backwards, okay, never get to -2. So that's an asymptote. So the asymptotes are, so the vertical asymptotes are x equals -2 and x equals 2.